I'm so excited today about talking about grounding. Grounding. Many of us, after narcissistic abuse, after trauma, after all sorts of difficult situations we may be facing, we struggle to regulate ourselves. We struggle to handle when we start to feel discombobulated. How many times have you been out with a friend or doing something at work and then something happens and then all of a sudden you're right back to that abuse? You're dysregulated, your heart is pounding, your mouth is dry, your hands are shaking, and you're in the moment of under pressure and you have to show up. What do you do in those moments? How do we re-regulate ourselves when we are struggling with severe anxiety, or we're struggling and battling through difficult triggers, and we have flashbacks? Have you ever had one of those incidences? I'm Dr. Kerry Kerr McAvoy. I am a licensed psychologist with over 20 years of counseling experience. I'm also a narcissistic abuse and a trauma survivor. So today we're going to be talking about grounding. What is grounding? How do we do it? How can you do it when you're in the moment? And please, because this is a guided experience, it doesn't make it out there very well because we're very quiet. So would you please like this and share this with someone? Maybe you know someone right now who's struggling with this today. Maybe they're having a rough day and they need to know that this is happening, and this would be just the perfect resource for them. So please share that with them, as well as please like today's episode, just so we get it out better into these worlds, so that people know that this is something that's happening. So let me kind of go back. I think it's really important for us to understand what happens when we're being triggered and why is it happening. We always think, because partly the United States, and maybe this is very egocentric of me to say, because I know I have people from around the world watching, but we think we're built for a pursuit of happiness. It actually is written into our Constitution. That actually is not accurate. Our mind, our body is built for survival. That's its primary goal, and it does it extremely well. In fact, I read an interesting statistic that really blew me away, is that by the time you realize something mentally, your body, your mind has already picked it up to 10 seconds earlier, and your neocortex, your upper front part of your brain, is just finally catching up, that you are already reacting and you don't even know that you're reacting. So are we surprised then when we can be in these meetings and under pressure, and we can be at work, or maybe we're trying to handle something at home with the kids, or we're in a discussion with somebody who's really important, and suddenly we're flooded? Well, what we may not have realized is the body and the mind, the deeper part of the mind, picked up a cue that somehow it reminded them of danger, that you've been in danger before. There's something about this situation. Maybe it's an emotional reaction. Maybe it's a word cue. Maybe it's even an odor. How do we calm down a hypervigilant arousal system? And this is the hard part. When you go through trauma, and particularly when you go through trauma in a repeated way, your body begins to hardwire itself to prepare itself for trauma. And so you have a faster reaction. It's like it's built in the wiring, the hardware, and you're moving faster into a traumatic reaction, even when you really don't want to. So today we're going to talk about how to do grounding. Now, if you've missed the previous ones, I've gone through breathing, the importance of diaphragmatic deep breathing. So if you want to, you can go back. There are videos on that. There's also, I've talked about how to center yourself and anchor yourself. Now, grounding is kind of similar to anchoring. I know that there's thoughts out there about grounding, like grounding ourselves. Like right now, I'm barefooted and feet are on the floor. So some people say we need to touch earth. We need to go out and ground ourselves literally. And there's actually products you can buy that you can wear your wrist when you sleep in certain kinds of sheets, and they actually ground you out. Those are fascinating. I don't know a lot about that, so I'm actually not talking about that. I'm talking instead today more about grounding ourselves in our sense of self, in our sense of body. So, as you can tell, I'm speaking really fast. I also have a very over aroused nervous system, and when I'm a little anxious, you can feel me kind of racing with you. So, this is something I find really helpful. And I've had the interesting experience. I'd love to know if you guys have had the same experience where once I start to focus on, like even right now that I said that, slowing down, breathing a little deeper, do you find that it re regulates you? So let's check in for a few minutes before we do the guided exercise. And I describe it today. We're going to do two. We're going to do two. We're going to do one's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, and the other one's called drop and anchor. So we're going to do two today. But before we launch into that, what are your big questions about breathing, about breath work, centering ourselves? What does not kind of make sense about it, or that you're really really struggling? All right, so I want to jump in and let's talk about the first method, which is a little simpler. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Now, what I'd like you to do, and make sure you guys like and share this so that people know that this is happening. You may know someone who needs this right now. What I'd like you to have you to do, if you can, wherever you are, sort of pay attention to your body position. Okay. So I'm sitting at a desk and I'm sitting in a chair, and I want you now. I'm tuning in. I'm tuning in. I feel the bottom of my seat against the bottom of the chair. And I want you to feel yours. I want you to, whether you're standing, maybe it's you're feeling your feet against the floor and you feel your shoulders. And notice where your shoulders are. I want you kind of bring them back up and drop them. And then also lean your back against the back of the chair, and notice how that feels, and the fact that the chair is holding your weight up, and just kind of sense that. So what we're going to do is this is something you can do anytime that you're feeling really triggered. What we're going to do is we're going to notice. I'm going to ask you to notice things with your senses. And I'm already starting to get you to tune into your bodily sensation, your proprioception, your sense of self and space. But I want you to do right now, we're going to get quiet as we do this. So it's going to, for those who are joining us, this is what we're doing, a grounding technique. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What I want you to notice right now is 5 things that you hear. We're going to go silent so that you can hear it. And maybe you're in a silent space, but that doesn't mean there's not noise. So I want you right now to pay attention, identify 5 things that you hear. Okay, let's list the 5 things you heard. What 5 things did you hear? I'm in an absolutely silent room, but I heard the wind outside. There's one of the lights is humming in the other room. I can hear the hum. My ears always ring, so my ears are ringing. My son cleared his throat next door. Um, I hear the hum of the computer. So what things did you hear? Yeah, I only heard a few things too. It was hard to come up with 5 because I'm in a very quiet room. Oh, bathroom fan, wind, the fan in the bathroom, and my cat. Several of you heard cats. I love that. Someone's typing, the dog's breathing, my teeth. Oh, that's interesting. Traffic. Yeah, 5 was a lot. I agree. 5 felt like a lot for me. Yeah, birds, traffic, rain. Ooh, I'd love to hear rain. All right. Now I want you to kind of relax and obviously not watch the screen, and I want you to notice, I want you to count 5 or 4 things that you see. Or again, take about 10 seconds or more to do that. 4 things that you see. Okay, so what things did you see? I'm a very visual learner, so for me, that was really easy. I mean, it just pops out everywhere. I mean, I see the light in front of me and the computer and the camera. I see my phone and my microphone, and I'm just very aware of what's around me. And very sensitive to what's around me. Okay, so picture on the wall, couch, flowers, diffusers, the Red Bull that you're drinking. Yeah, Brene Brown books. Ooh, I love that. That's a great one. Yeah. Yeah, balloons, flowers, dog, fish tanks, exactly. Okay, so now we're going to notice 3 things that you can touch. I want you to find 3 things that you're touching. 3 things that you're touching. Again, we're going to go quiet for about 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, so what 3 things were you aware of that you were physically touching? You know that I already told you that my desk is wood, so I'm feeling the wood grain, and my feet, I said my feet are bare, so I can feel I have a rug on the floor that's a fluffy rug, and so, one foot's on the fluffy rug and the other foot's on the laminate floor, but so I could feel that, and then I could feel the bottom of myself sitting against my chair, my back and my bottom of my chair. Yeah. The arms of your couch, okay. Your body parts, exactly. Your computer, keyboard, floor, exactly. Great job. All right, now I want you guys to notice, here's a tough one. 2 things that you're smelling. 2 things that you're smelling. Okay, again, we're gonna go quiet for a couple seconds here. 2 things that you're smelling. This was a hard one. Syrup and laundry. Oh, I like that. For me, it was, we cooked brisket earlier this week, and it's kinda hanging in the house, so a little bit of meat, brisket meat smell. And I think the other one was hairspray or hair product. But it was hard because I don't have a lot of intense odors in the house right now. Yeah, I'm laughing too. So softener, fabric softener, and the blanket, ooh, that's a nice one. Freshly washed hair and hand lotion. Oh, that's a nice smell. The wind does have a smell. I agree. So does rain. Rain has a smell. Have you noticed that? Exactly. Yeah, a sandwich. Yeah. All right. So here's the last thing that I want you to tune into today in this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. I want you to tune into one thing that you can taste. This is maybe hard for some of us. One thing that you can taste. Okay, so let's pause for a few seconds. One thing that we you can taste. I haven't had any breakfast today, so for me it's toothpaste. I can still taste the toothpaste from today. What do you guys coffee. Coffee aftertaste. Yeah, coffee. Exactly. So, all right, what did we just do? We just did what's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Now, let's put this into perspective. We did this very slowly. It doesn't need to be this slow. When you're having a flashback or suddenly you're massively triggered, say you're in a situation that you feel completely like caught up in your head and you're struggling to be oriented, you're feeling like you're losing it and you're melting down. This is a simple technique you can pull out at any point. You can do it in the car, you can do it when you're in your bed trying to sleep, you can do it in the middle of a work meeting. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is 5 things you hear, 4 things you see, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So let me again go through this again. Let me say this again. So 5 things that you can hear, 4 things you can see, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. The purpose of this is to use this whenever you're feeling out of touch and not in your body. There are times for some of us that we're dissociating and we're disconnected with reality, or we're disconnected with our sense of self. I've had this experience. It is the most awful experience. For those of you who've never had it happen to you, if you've ever fainted, it feels a lot like that, only it's psychological. You feel like something really bad's about to happen, or bad is happening, really bad, and that's how it feels when you're gonna faint. It feels the same with dissociation. You feel really awful when you get move outside of your body and you're just disconnecting. This is a great way to say to yourself, 5 things I can hear, 4 things I can see, 3 things I can smell, 2 things I can or 3 things I can touch, 2 things I can smell, 1 thing I can taste. You can quickly do this. You can start to look around, you can start to listen. It forces what it does without saying, because here's the thing, what we often do is like, I'm okay, I'm okay. Well, it doesn't really work very well, because telling yourself something, you're not actually doing it, you're talking to yourself. It's like saying to yourself, okay, I need to know where I'm at. Well, but that's not going to help you on a map, because you don't have a map and you're just telling yourself to do something and you're already not doing it. But doing this is actually activity. This is an exercise, and doing it will immediately move you back into your body. You can't not be in your body and be hearing and smelling and tasting and touching. You have to be. It is a ground. You've grounded yourself by doing this. So that's what's so lovely about this technique, is it's super grounding and it's super easy, and you can do it anywhere at any time. All right. So what is dropping the anchor? I came across this online and I have a reference for it. I'll put it in some of the places where we can put references in. Um, it's really, I loved it. When I saw this, I thought that's really helpful. It helps you. What it does is it does the same thing that this other one, 5 4 3 2 1 method does. It does the same way, but a little bit differently. It's a little bit differently. So it is acknowledging your thoughts and feelings, and it helps you come back to your body. So what I want you to do is I want you to, this is how we're going to do it. So right now, it's back to what we kind of did with the last time. I want you to slowly push your feet against the floor. So right now, we're going to start to move through this exercise. So if we go a little bit quiet, this is why we're doing it. We're going to do this together. I want you to push your feet hard against the floor right now. Push your feet hard against the floor. And then slowly straighten your back and spine. And now put your fingertips together and press them together. And then I want you to tip your head right and then tip your head left. All right. And then I want you to place your hands back down. Take a deep breath and let it out. Now, as you do that, I want you to lean your back against the chair or the couch or the seat, wherever you're sitting. And I want you to notice what's around you. Just sense what you can see, hear, smell, or taste. Completely tune into what it is that you're in, the environment that you're in. Is it noisy or quiet? Is it the sound of rain, or is it windy? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? And give your full attention to this. Can you feel your breath move in and out? Where are you holding tension in your body? Tighten those spots. Make them really tight. And hold it and release. How do those areas feel now? Focus on your breathing for a second. Notice how your chest rises and falls. Feel your feet on the ground again and wiggle your toes. Take another deep breath and let it out. Okay. So, how does that feel? What was that like for you? This is called dropping the anchor. The anchor, by the way, if you haven't kind of picked up on that, is you. You're the anchor. Your body is the anchor. Again, so when we're having these flashbacks and triggers or we're having an anxiety attack, we no longer stay anchored to our body. We've lost touch with our sense of self. We've lost touch with our sense of our body and where we're at. So what these do, these are the ways in which we reconnect back into ourselves and back into the senses, back into safety. Thank you so much, guys. This was really, really wonderful being with you today. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing and liking this and hanging out with me. It was really, really wonderful and it was fabulous. And I will see you guys. Bye bye.